I knew something was wrong the moment they walked through the door. Not because of what they said, not because of what they carried, but because of the way Jennifer's eyes swept the living room, cataloging, measuring, calculating, like an appraiser entering a foreclosure property. My son Michael followed half a step behind her, carrying a leather briefcase I'd never seen before. His shoulders were tight. His jaw was set in that particular way that told me he'd been practicing speeches in the car. "Merry Christmas," my wife Eleanor said from the kitchen doorway, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Her voice was warm, but I caught the microscopic pause before she spoke. She'd seen it too. Jennifer's smile was bright and hard as winter ice. "Merry Christmas, Mom. Dad." She set her purse down on the coffee table with deliberate care, like she was marking territory. The traffic was absolutely insane. You'd think people would stay home on Christmas Eve. "We're just glad you made it safely," I said, standing up from my chair. I'm 61 years old, and I've spent 37 years working as a facilities and logistics director for a mid-sized commercial real estate firm. People tend to forget I exist about 5 minutes after meeting me. It's a useful trait in my line of work. Michael set the briefcase down next to Jennifer's purse. He didn't look at me. "Can I get you something to drink?" Eleanor asked. "Wine? Coffee?" "Wine would be lovely," Jennifer said. She was already sitting on the sofa, crossing her legs, arranging herself like she was settling in for a performance. "Red, if you have it." I noticed the briefcase had a combination lock. Eleanor disappeared into the kitchen. I sat back down in my chair, the worn leather recliner I'd owned for 15 years, the one Michael used to climb on when he was small. Jennifer's gaze flicked to it, lingered for a moment on the cracked armrest, then moved on. "So," Michael said, his voice too loud, "how have you guys been?" "Fine," I said. "Busy with the holidays. You know how it is?" "Ugh, right. Yeah." He sat down next to Jennifer, perched on the edge of the cushion like he might need to spring up at any moment. His hand found hers. Their fingers interlocked with practiced precision. Jennifer squeezed his hand once. Permission or encouragement. I couldn't tell which. "Actually," she said, "we wanted to talk to you both about something important. Before dinner, if that's okay. It's kind of time-sensitive." Eleanor emerged with 2 wine glasses. She handed one to Jennifer, one to Michael, then sat down on the love seat perpendicular to the sofa. I caught her eye. She gave me the smallest nod. We'd been married for 34 years. We didn't need full sentences anymore. "Of course," Eleanor said. "What's on your mind?" Jennifer took a sip of wine, set the glass down on the coffee table without using a coaster, and reached for the briefcase. The locks clicked open with sharp metallic snaps. "So," she began, pulling out a navy blue folder embossed with a law firm's name I didn't recognize. "I want to start by saying this isn't easy for us to talk about. But we're family, and family is honest with each other, right?" "Right," Eleanor said. Her voice was perfectly neutral. Jennifer opened the folder. Inside were printed documents, tabs, highlighter marks, sticky notes protruding from the edges like flags. She'd organized this, rehearsed it. "As you know," Jennifer continued, "Michael and I have been going through some financial challenges over the past couple of years. We haven't really talked about the extent of it, because we wanted to handle it ourselves. We're adults. We didn't want to burden you." Michael was staring at the floor. His jaw was working like he was chewing something tough. "But the situation has become more serious than we anticipated," Jennifer said. "And after a lot of discussion, and I mean a lot, we've realized we need help, family help." She turned the folder around so it was facing me and slid it across the coffee table. "We owe $485,000, she said. The number hung in the air like smoke. "Medical debt, primarily. Michael's back surgery 18 months ago. The complications, the second surgery, physical therapy. The insurance covered some of it, but not nearly enough. We've been paying it down, but the interest is crushing us." I looked down at the folder. The top page was a summary sheet, itemized and color-coded. Someone had spent hours on this presentation. "Additionally," Jennifer continued, "the boutique I opened last year didn't perform the way we projected. We had to close it in October. There were lease obligations, vendor contracts. We had to cover payroll for 3 employees through the closure. It was the ethical thing to do." "That must have been difficult," Eleanor said. "It was devastating," Jennifer said. Her eyes were bright, almost wet. "I put everything I had into that business, my whole heart, and watching it fail, watching my dream just collapse, it nearly broke me." Michael's hand tightened on hers. "But we're not here to ask for sympathy," Jennifer said, straightening her shoulders. "We're here because we need practical help, the kind of help that only family can provide." I still hadn't touched the folder. "What kind of help?" I asked. Jennifer took another sip of wine. When she set the glass down, she looked directly at me. "We need you to co-sign a debt consolidation loan," she said. $485,000, fixed rate 7 years. Monthly payments would be around $6,000. We'll make the payments, obviously, but the bank won't approve us without a co-signer. Your credit is excellent. Your assets are substantial. You could retire tomorrow if you wanted to." She said that last part like it was an accusation. "We're not asking you to pay for anything," Michael added quickly. "Just a sign, just to help us get approved. We'll handle everything else. You won't have to worry about a thing." Eleanor's face was still, unreadable. "I know it's a big ask," Jennifer said, "and I know this is sudden, but the lender needs an answer by New Year's Eve. If we don't secure this consolidation, we're looking at potential bankruptcy, and that would be catastrophic for us, for our future, for any plans we have to give you grandchildren." There it was. The knife slid in so smoothly I almost didn't feel it. "Grandchildren?" Eleanor repeated softly. "We want kids," Jennifer said, "more than anything. But we can't bring a child into this kind of financial instability. It wouldn't be fair. And honestly, Mom, you've told me so many times how much you want to be a grandmother, how you've been waiting, how hard it's been." Eleanor's expression didn't change, but I saw her fingers tighten on her wine glass. "We're giving you the opportunity to help us build that future," Jennifer said. "The future where you get to be a grandma, where we're stable and happy and ready. But we need this help first. We need you to trust us, to believe in us." Michael finally looked at me. His eyes were red-rimmed. "Dad, I've never asked you for anything like this before. Never. And I wouldn't now if we had any other choice. But this is survival. This is Jennifer and me trying to save everything we've built together. And we're asking you, as our family, to help us do that." The room was silent, except for the ticking of the mantel clock Eleanor had inherited from her mother. I reached forward and picked up the folder. Inside were bank statements, medical bills, loan documents, credit reports. Everything was highlighted and annotated. Post-it notes with arrows pointing to specific sections. A green tab marked Co-Signer Agreement. A yellow tab marked Payment Schedule. A pink tab marked Impact Analysis. Jennifer had thought of everything. "There's a pen in the side pocket," she said. "If you want to review everything first, that's fine. But like I said, we need an answer by New Year's. The bank is closed between Christmas and the 29th. So realistically, we'd need your signature in the next day or two to get everything processed in time." "That's what family does," Jennifer added. Her smile was back, bright and sharp. "Family shows up for each other, no matter what." I closed the folder. "I need to think about this," I said. Jennifer's smile tightened. "Of course. We understand. Take your time. Well, as much time as you have. But Dad, I hope you'll really consider what this means. Not just for us, but for our whole family. For the relationship we all have together." The unspoken threat was clear: refuse, and there would be consequences. "Actually," I said, standing up, "I have something for you too, an early Christmas gift. Give me just a minute." I walked to my office, the small converted bedroom at the back of the house where I kept my files and my desk and the things that mattered. I heard Jennifer say something to Michael in a low voice. I heard Eleanor get up, heard her footsteps heading toward the kitchen. I opened my filing cabinet. Second drawer, blue folder, third from the back. Inside was a document I'd prepared 6 months ago. The day after Michael and Jennifer asked to borrow Eleanor's grandmother's ring to get it resized, and then never returned it. The day after Jennifer mentioned, casually, that maybe we should consider adding her name to our home deed just for estate planning purposes. The day I'd started paying attention. I returned to the living room. Jennifer and Michael were whispering to each other, their heads close together. They stopped when they saw me. "Here," I said, handing Jennifer a plain manila envelope. "Merry Christmas." She took it, surprised. "Oh, wow. Thank you. Should I open it now?" "I think you should," I said. Eleanor had returned from the kitchen. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching. Jennifer slid her finger under the envelope flap and tore it open. She pulled out the papers inside, 3 pages, stapled, official letterhead at the top. Her face went white, then red, then white again. "What the hell is this?" she whispered. Michael leaned over to look. His expression mirrored hers. Shock, confusion, and then dawning horror. "That," I said calmly, sitting back down in my chair, "is a notice of asset freeze and conditional power transfer enforcement. You'll notice it's dated 6 months ago. You'll also notice both of your signatures at the bottom of page 2. What are you talking about? Jennifer's voice was rising. I never signed anything like this. This is fraud. This is illegal. It's not, Eleanor said from the doorway. It's completely legal. You signed it voluntarily. June 14th, at the coffee shop on Maple Street, remember? Jennifer stared at her. The estate planning documents? You said those were just basic power of attorney forms in case something happened to you. You said it was standard paperwork. It was, I said, and it is. Power of attorney documents that grant us the right to freeze and control access to any jointly titled assets or lines of credit that bear our names or our financial liability, which includes the second mortgage you took out on your house last year using my name as a reference, and the credit cards you opened with my identity verification, and the business loan Jennifer secured using our home address as collateral. Michael's mouth was open. We didn't know that's what we were signing. You didn't read it, Eleanor corrected. We told you to read it. We told you to take it to a lawyer if you wanted. You said you trusted us. Jennifer was shaking. This is insane. You're sabotaging us. Your own son. Your own family. No, I said. I'm protecting us from being destroyed by your debt. The debt you just tried to legally transfer to us without our informed consent. That's not what we were doing, Michael shouted. We were asking for help. That's what you do for your kids. I did help, I said. I helped you fill out college applications. I helped you move into your first apartment. I helped you fix your car when the transmission died. I gave you seed money for your wedding. I've helped you every time you've asked, Michael, every single time, until it became clear that helping you meant letting you bury us. Jennifer stood up. The folder fell from her lap, papers scattering across the coffee table. You're a monster, both of you. You set us up. You tricked us into signing something we didn't understand so you could control us. We gave you every opportunity to understand, Eleanor said. Her voice was still calm, but there was steel underneath. We gave you the documents 3 days in advance. We offered to pay for a lawyer to review them. You told us we were being paranoid and difficult. You said family doesn't need lawyers. That's because we trusted you, Jennifer screamed. And we trusted you, I said, until you started stealing from us. Michael flinched. We never stole anything. You took Eleanor's ring and sold it, I said. You opened credit cards using my information without asking. You listed our house as collateral on a business loan without our knowledge or consent. That's theft, Michael. That's fraud. And the only reason you're not in jail right now is because we decided to handle it as a family. Quietly. With consequences instead of charges. Jennifer's hands were shaking. She was looking at the document like it might bite her. What does this mean? What are you doing to us? Right now, I said. Nothing. As long as you don't force my hand. The freeze is conditional. It only triggers if you attempt to legally or financially obligate us without explicit written consent, which is what you tried to do tonight. We were asking for help. You were demanding we guarantee $500,000 of your debt with no collateral, no legal protection, and a 7-year commitment that could destroy our retirement if you defaulted. I kept my voice level, reasonable. That's not asking for help, Jennifer. That's asking us to jump off a cliff with you. Michael stood up. His face was twisted with rage. You're my father. You're supposed to support me. You're supposed to believe in me. I do support you, I said. I supported you right up until you decided your convenience mattered more than our survival. And now I'm supporting us. We could lose everything, Michael shouted. Do you understand that? We could lose the house, our credit, our entire future. Then you shouldn't have spent it, Eleanor said quietly. Jennifer turned on her. You don't get to judge us. You don't know what we've been through. I know you bought a luxury SUV 3 months after Michael's surgery, Eleanor said. I know you spent $40,000 renovating your kitchen while you had medical debt. I know you went to Cancun twice this year. I know because you posted about it. Constantly. And then you come here and tell us you're drowning and we're the only ones who can save you. Those were investments in our quality of life. They were choices, I said. And now you want us to pay for them. Jennifer grabbed her purse. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely zip it. We're leaving. And don't expect us to come back. Don't expect to meet your grandchildren. Don't expect anything from us ever again. Jennifer, Michael said. His voice cracked. Wait. But she was already heading for the door. Michael looked at me, at Eleanor, at the scattered papers on the coffee table. His face was a mess of anger and grief and something else I couldn't quite identify. Shame, maybe, or fear. I'll never forgive you for this, he said. Then he followed Jennifer out. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. Eleanor and I stood in the living room, listening to their car start, listening to the tires squeal as they pulled out of the driveway too fast. "That went about as well as expected," Eleanor said finally. "Better, actually," I said. I thought she might throw something. Eleanor sat down on the love seat. She looked tired. "Do you think they'll come back?" "Yes," I said. "They'll be back, because they need us more than they hate us right now, and because Jennifer doesn't give up when she thinks she can still win." "What do we do when they come back?" I picked up the blue folder Jennifer had brought, the one with their debt documentation and the cosigner forms. I flipped through it slowly, reading the fine print they'd assumed I wouldn't bother with. "We finish what we started," I said. They didn't come back on Christmas Day. Eleanor and I ate dinner alone. The roast she'd been preparing since dawn, the mashed potatoes, the green beans, the rolls. We sat at the table in silence, passing dishes back and forth, the empty chairs at the other end like missing teeth in a smile. "I made too much food," Eleanor said after a while. "You always make too much food," I said. "I know." She pushed green beans around her plate. "I just keep hoping." I didn't ask what she was hoping for. I already knew. After dinner, we wrapped the presents we'd bought for Michael and Jennifer and put them in the hall closet. Eleanor wrote their names on the tags in her careful handwriting. Then we cleaned the kitchen together, loaded the dishwasher, put away the leftovers in matching Tupperware containers. Normal. Routine. Except for the weight in the room that made everything feel like we were moving underwater. "I'm going to do some work," I said. Eleanor nodded. She'd already pulled out her book. A mystery novel she'd been trying to finish for 3 weeks. "I'll be up late," she said. "Don't wait for me." I went to my office and closed the door. The blue folder was on my desk where I'd left it. I opened it and started reading. Really reading. Not just the summary Jennifer had prepared, but every document, every bank statement, every bill. The medical debt was real, $412,000 from 2 surgeries, complications, hospital stays, physical therapy. The insurance had covered about 60%. The rest had fallen on them. That part I believed. The boutique debt was murkier. Jennifer had taken out a small business loan for $75,000. She'd maxed out 3 credit cards for another $40,000 in inventory and renovation costs. She'd signed a 5-year commercial lease with a personal guarantee. When the business failed after 11 months, she'd been liable for the remaining lease term, another $38,000. And then there were the lifestyle expenses that didn't quite add up with someone drowning in debt. The SUV payment, $800 a month. The kitchen renovation, $42,000, financed at 14% interest. The vacations, the designer handbags I'd seen in the background of Jennifer's Instagram photos, the dinners at restaurants that cost more per meal than Eleanor and I spent on groceries in a week. They weren't drowning. They were sinking themselves and demanding we provide the life raft. I pulled out my own files, the documents I'd been collecting for 6 months, ever since I'd started paying attention. The credit report I'd pulled showing 3 cards opened in my name without authorization. Small limits, $2,000 each, but enough to establish a pattern. They'd been making minimum payments, so the accounts were in good standing. They thought I wouldn't notice. The business loan application for Jennifer's boutique. I'd found it in a stack of mail that had been accidentally delivered to our house. My name wasn't on it, but our address was listed as both her business address and personal residence. Any lender pulling the property records would assume I had a financial stake. The equity line of credit Michael had tried to open against our house. He'd been listed as an authorized resident at our address for years. We'd never taken him off after he moved out. The bank had sent a verification letter. Eleanor had intercepted it. That's when we'd started preparing. Eleanor had taken the lead. She'd always been better with documents, with legal language, with understanding the hidden mechanisms of contracts and agreements. She'd been an executive assistant for 30 years before retiring. She knew how systems worked, how to use them, how to protect against them. We'd spent 2 weeks researching. We'd consulted with a lawyer, not our regular attorney, but someone who specialized in financial fraud protection and family law. We'd explained the situation carefully, clinically. The lawyer had listened without judgment. "You need to create a legal firebreak," she'd said, "something that triggers automatically if they attempt to extend their liability to you. It won't stop them from trying, but it will give you recourse." That's when we drafted the power of attorney documents. They were real, legitimate, completely legal. They granted us the authority to freeze or control any jointly titled assets, any accounts where our names appeared as guarantors, any financial instruments that could create liability for us without explicit consent. The trick was getting Michael and Jennifer to sign them. Eleanor had been brilliant. She'd approached it as routine estate planning, the kind of thing responsible adults do. She'd presented it over coffee, casual and friendly, just some paperwork to make sure everything was organized in case something happened to us. She'd emphasized the protection it offered them, how it would prevent confusion if we died suddenly, how it would make sure our assets passed smoothly without legal complications. Michael had barely glanced at it. Jennifer had skimmed the first page and then signed. They'd trusted us. Or more accurately, they'd assumed we were too old and too naive to trap them. Now the trap was set. And they'd triggered it. My phone buzzed. Text message from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Jennifer. We need to talk. Tomorrow. Just you, me, and Michael. No lawyers, no Eleanor. Family only." I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I deleted it. 5 minutes later, another text. This one from Michael's number. "Dad, please. I know you're angry, but can we just sit down and talk about this like adults? Jennifer is willing to apologize. We both are. We just need to figure this out together." I didn't respond to that one either. My phone rang. Michael's number. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Jennifer's number. Again. Michael. Again. Jennifer. I turned off the phone. In the living room, I could hear Eleanor turning pages, the soft creak of the love seat as she shifted position, the familiar sounds of our life together, quiet and steady. I pulled out a legal pad and started making notes. Timeline, assets, vulnerabilities, next steps. They would come back. Jennifer had said they wouldn't, but that was emotion talking. She was angry, humiliated, cornered, but she was also practical. She'd analyze the situation, realize they still needed us, and regroup. The question was how. I made a list of possibilities. 1. They could try to challenge the power of attorney document. Claim they didn't understand it, that we'd tricked them into signing, that it was fraudulent. But that would require lawyers, and lawyers would look at the debt they'd been trying to transfer to us and realize the real fraud was theirs. 2. They could try to manipulate Eleanor. Jennifer was good at that, the tears, the family appeals, the guilt. But Eleanor was steel underneath her gentleness. She wouldn't break. 3. They could try to access our assets directly. The house was in both our names, deeded and recorded. They couldn't touch it. Our bank accounts required both signatures for major transactions. Our retirement accounts were protected. Our credit was locked down. I'd made sure of that months ago. 4. They could try to make our lives miserable. Social media posts about ungrateful parents, family gossip, public humiliation, emotional manipulation. That was Jennifer's specialty. Or 5. They could try something desperate. I underlined that last one. Desperate people did unpredictable things. And right now, Michael and Jennifer were very desperate. I spent 2 more hours going through documents, making notes, preparing. When I finally turned off the desk lamp, it was past midnight. The house was dark. Eleanor had gone to bed. I stood in my office doorway, looking at the shadows of our living room. The Christmas tree we'd decorated together. The stockings hanging from the mantel. The presents in the closet that might never be opened. 34 years of marriage. 61 years of life. And it had come down to this. Protecting ourselves from our own son. I went to bed. Eleanor was already asleep, or pretending to be. I didn't disturb her. I lay in the dark, listening to her breathing, and planned for what was coming next. The next morning, the doorbell rang at 7 a.m. I was already awake. I'd been up since 5, showering, dressing, preparing. I heard Eleanor moving in the bedroom, heard her footsteps in the hall. "I'll get it," I said. Through the peephole, I saw Michael, alone. He was wearing the same clothes from yesterday. His hair was uncombed, his eyes were red. I opened the door. "Dad," he said. His voice was hoarse. "Can I come in?" I stepped back. He entered slowly, looking around like he expected an ambush. "Where's Jennifer?" I asked. "At a friend's house. She didn't want to come. She's too angry." He swallowed. "Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We shouldn't have ambushed you like that. We should have talked to you first, explained everything, given you time to think." "You should have," I agreed. "Can we sit down, please?" We went to the living room. The blue folder was still on the coffee table where Jennifer had dropped it. Michael's eyes fixed on it. "I need you to understand something," he said. "This wasn't some scheme to steal from you. We're really in trouble. Real financial trouble. The kind that ends in bankruptcy and foreclosure. And we're terrified." "I know," I said. "Do you?" His voice cracked. "Do you know what it feels like to watch everything you've built just crumble? To know you're failing and you can't stop it? To be so far underwater you can't even see the surface anymore?" "Yes," I said. "I do. I grew up poor, Michael. Genuinely poor. Your mother and I started with nothing. We built everything we have from scratch, and we did it without destroying anyone else in the process. That was different. You had opportunities we don't have. We had student loans and credit card debt and a mortgage we could barely afford, I said. We had a car that broke down every 3 months and jobs that didn't pay enough. We ate ramen for dinner and fixed our own plumbing. We didn't go to Cancun. We didn't buy luxury cars. We didn't renovate our kitchen while we were drowning. Michael flinched. You're not in trouble because of bad luck, I continued. You're in trouble because you made bad choices, and now you want us to pay for them. We're your family. Which is why I'm not turning you in for fraud, I said. Which is why that document I gave Jennifer is protection, not punishment. You triggered the freeze by trying to force us into that co-signer agreement. But the freeze is conditional. It only stays in effect as long as you keep trying to damage us. I don't understand what you want from us, Michael said. Do you want us to lose everything? Is that what would make you happy? I want you to take responsibility, I said. File for bankruptcy if you need to. Sell the house, sell the car, downsize, get cheaper rent, pick up extra work, cut expenses, do what your mother and I did when we were struggling, sacrifice and rebuild. We can't just start over. We're too old for that. You're 34, I said. Your mother and I were 35 when we lost everything in the recession. We started over. We survived. So can you? Michael put his face in his hands. His shoulders shook. I waited. Jennifer won't accept that, he said finally. She won't downsize. She won't give up the house or the car or any of it. She'll leave me first. Then maybe she should, I said. He looked up. His face was wet. She's my wife. I know. I love her. I know that too. Then help us, he whispered. Please, Dad. Please, I'm begging you. The words hung in the air between us. No, I said. Michael stood up. His hands were shaking. Then I don't know what happens next. I don't know what Jennifer's going to do. She's talking about lawyers, about going public, about telling everyone what kind of people you really are. Let her, I said. She'll destroy you. She'll try, I corrected. But the truth protects us, Michael. Everything we've done is legal. Everything you've done is documented. If she wants to go to war, she won't like how it ends. He stared at me like I was a stranger. You're not the man I thought you were, he said. I'm exactly the man I've always been, I said. You just weren't paying attention. He left without another word. Eleanor came out of the bedroom after the door closed. She'd been listening from the hallway. He's going to tell Jennifer everything, she said. I know. And then? And then it gets worse, I said. We didn't tell anyone about the kidnapping. Not the police, not the Hendersons, not anyone. Eleanor wanted to. They threatened us. They followed me. They physically restrained you. That's criminal behavior. And if we report it, it becomes a public spectacle, I said. Police reports, lawyers, court, everything Jennifer wants. Public attention, sympathy, a platform to play the victim. We'd be playing into her hands. So we just let them get away with it? No, I said. We use it. They've shown their cards. They're willing to go physical. They're willing to threaten. They're desperate enough to do something stupid. That's valuable information. We were in our kitchen, New Year's Day, the morning after. I was drinking coffee that had gone cold. Eleanor was pacing. I'm scared, she said. For the first time since this started, I'm actually scared. What if they do something worse? What if Michael really loses control? Then we'll deal with it, I said. But we can't let fear paralyze us. That's what they want. They want us terrified and compliant. I am terrified, Eleanor said. They know where we live. They know our routines. They have photographs of me. Who knows what else they have? I set down my coffee. Then we change our routines. We don't go anywhere alone. We install better security. We document everything. We prepare. Prepare for what? For whatever they do next, I said. What they did next came on January 2nd. I was at work again. Eleanor had gone to the grocery store. I'd insisted she take her phone, keep it on, check in every 30 minutes. At 11 a.m., Jake from security called my extension. Mr. Brennan, we've got a delivery for you. Courier service. Says it requires your signature. What kind of delivery? Legal documents. From a law firm. Morgan and Associates. I didn't recognize the name. I'll be right down. The courier was waiting at the security desk. Young guy, bored, holding a thick manila envelope. I signed for it and took it back to my office. Inside was a lawsuit. Jennifer and Michael were suing me for financial elder abuse. I read through it twice. The claims were creative. I'd give them that. They alleged that I'd manipulated them into signing the power of attorney documents under false pretenses, that I'd taken advantage of their trust and their financial desperation, that I'd exercised undue influence, that I'd engaged in a pattern of financial coercion designed to control and exploit them. The damages they were seeking, $485,000, plus legal fees, plus emotional distress. I called Eleanor. "They're suing us," I said. Silence on the other end. "Then, can they do that?" "They can file anything. Whether they can win is another question." "What do? "We get a lawyer, a real one, not the estate planning attorney, a litigation specialist." I was already pulling up names on my computer. "And we prepare to fight." "This is going to cost a fortune. Less than $500,000, I said. That afternoon, I met with Patricia Vance. She was 60 years old, sharp as a knife, and specialized in family litigation. Her office was downtown, modern and cold. "Tell me everything," she said. I did. The debt, the cosigner request, the power of attorney documents, the threats, the kidnapping, the lawsuit. Patricia took notes without expression. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. "They don't have a case," she said. "Not a legitimate one. The power of attorney documents were properly executed. You gave them time to review. You offered legal counsel. They signed voluntarily. Their claims of manipulation won't hold up. Then why file? Harassment. Pressure. They're hoping you'll settle to make it go away. They're hoping the cost and stress of litigation will break you down." She tapped her pen on her notepad. "The question is, do you want to fight, or do you want to settle?" "Fight," I said without hesitation. "It's going to be expensive. 50,000, maybe more, depending on how far they take it. And it's going to be ugly. They'll depose you. They'll depose your wife. They'll go through your finances, your history, everything. They'll try to make you look bad." "They're already trying to make me look bad," I said. "True." Patricia smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. "All right, I'll file a response. We'll deny everything, we'll counterclaim for harassment and abuse of process, and we'll make sure they understand that if they want a war, they'll get one." "Good," I said. I left her office feeling something like relief, not happiness, not satisfaction, just relief that we had a plan, a strategy, a way to fight back. Eleanor was less certain. $50,000, she said that night. "That's a year of our retirement savings." "And if we don't fight, they win," I said. "They get what they want, and we lose everything anyway." "Maybe we should just pay them," Eleanor said. "Not the full amount, but something. Enough to make this go away." "No," I said, "because it won't go away. They'll take whatever we give them, and then they'll come back for more. This isn't about money anymore. It's about control, and I won't give them that." Eleanor was quiet for a long time. "When did our son become someone I don't recognize?" she asked finally. "I don't know," I said. "Maintenant, maybe he always was, and we just didn't want to see it." The lawsuit moved forward. Patricia filed our response. Michael and Jennifer's attorney filed a rebuttal. Discovery began. The process of exchanging documents, answering questions, building cases. They wanted our tax returns, our bank statements, our credit reports, our employment records, everything. We gave them everything, because we had nothing to hide. In return, we demanded their financial records. Every transaction for the past 3 years, every credit card statement, every loan application, every receipt. What we found was damning. They'd lied about the medical debt, not about the amount. That was real. But about the cause. Michael's back surgery had been elective. Not emergency. Not life-saving. Elective. He'd wanted it because he was having minor pain. The doctor had recommended physical therapy first. Michael had insisted on surgery. The insurance had refused to cover it because it wasn't medically necessary. $412,000 for an elective procedure. Jennifer's boutique had failed because she'd never had a business plan. She'd signed a 5-year lease on a retail space before she'd secured any inventory or established any vendors or even decided what she was selling. She'd spent $40,000 on renovations before she'd made a single sale. She'd operated at a loss every single month. Not because of bad luck or bad timing, because she'd never bothered to understand basic business principles. And the lifestyle expenses, the car, the vacations, the kitchen, the designer handbags, those had continued even after they'd started drowning in debt, even after they'd claimed to be cutting expenses, even after they'd supposedly been desperate. They'd been living beyond their means for years, and now they wanted us to pay for it. Patricia called me after reviewing everything. This is better than I'd hoped, she said. Their whole case is based on the claim that they were desperate and you took advantage. But the records show they weren't desperate. They were reckless and entitled. And they kept spending money they didn't have right up until the moment they came to you. So we can win? We can destroy them, Patricia said. But Richard, I need to ask, do you want to destroy them? Because once we start using this in court, it becomes public record. Everyone will see it. Everyone will know. Their reputation will be obliterated. I thought about Michael, about the boy who used to climb on my chair, about the young man who'd graduated college with honors, about the son I'd been proud of. Yes, I said, I want to destroy them. All right, Patricia said. Then let's go to war. The depositions were scheduled for mid-January. Mine first, then Eleanor's, then Michael and Jennifer's. I sat in a conference room across from their attorney, a woman named Rebecca Marsh, who looked too young to be handling a case like this. Patricia sat next to me. Rebecca asked questions for 6 hours about my finances, about my relationship with Michael, about the power of attorney documents, about my motivations, about my employment, about everything. I answered truthfully, completely, calmly. Rebecca tried to rattle me. Isn't it true you've always been controlling? No. Isn't it true you've always put money ahead of family? No. Isn't it true you manipulated your son into signing documents he didn't understand? No. I provided him with documents, explained what they were, offered to pay for legal review, and gave him time to consider. He chose to sign without reading. That's not manipulation. That's negligence. Rebecca's expression tightened. You're under oath, Mr. Brennan. I'm aware, I said. Eleanor's deposition was harder. She cried twice. Once when Rebecca asked about her relationship with Michael, once when Rebecca implied Eleanor was complicit in financial abuse. But Eleanor held firm. She told the truth. She didn't waver. Michael's deposition was a disaster. Patricia went after him methodically. Every financial decision, every purchase, every lie. The surgery was elective, correct? It was necessary for my quality of life. But not medically necessary? The pain was severe. But your doctor recommended physical therapy first? He didn't understand how bad it was. And the boutique? You signed a 5-year lease before securing any inventory? Jennifer was passionate about the business. But you didn't have a business plan? We had ideas. Ideas aren't a plan, Mr. Brennan. Michael started to crack around hour 3. His voice rose. He got defensive. He contradicted himself. By hour 5, he was yelling. You don't understand what it's like. You don't understand the pressure. We were trying to build something. We were trying to succeed. By spending money you didn't have? Patricia asked. We thought we'd make it back. Based on what evidence? Based on hope. Michael slammed his hand on the table. Based on believing things would get better. Based on trying. And when things didn't get better, you decided to force your parents to bail you out? They're my parents. That's what parents do. Jennifer's deposition was worse. She was prepared. She was coached. She had answers for everything. But Patricia was better. You posted on social media that Mr. and Mrs. Brennan abandoned their son. Is that accurate? They refused to help him. They refused to guarantee debt they didn't create. They refused to be there for family. You opened credit cards in Mr. Brennan's name without permission. Is that accurate? I was trying to manage our debt. By committing fraud? It wasn't fraud. He's family. Family members can't steal from each other? Jennifer's lawyer objected. Patricia rephrased. Did you have explicit permission to use Mr. Brennan's identity? Jennifer hesitated. We had an understanding. Did you have written permission? No. Did you have verbal permission? Not explicitly. So you used his identity without permission. I was trying to help us survive. By committing fraud, Patricia repeated. This time Jennifer's lawyer didn't object fast enough. Jennifer's face flushed. He could have stopped us at any time. He could have called the police. He could have reported it. But he didn't, because he knew we were family, because he knew we were desperate, because he knew he could help, and he chose not to. So in your view, Mr. Brennan is responsible for not preventing your fraud? He's responsible for abandoning his son. Jennifer's voice echoed in the conference room. The court reporter kept typing. Patricia let the silence hang. No further questions, she said. After the depositions, Patricia and I met in her office. They're done, she said. Their case is falling apart. Marsh knows it. They know it. If they're smart, they'll drop the lawsuit now. And if they're not smart, we go to trial. We put all of this on the record. The judge sees their financial recklessness, their fraud, their lies, we win, and they lose everything. How long? If they drop it now? A few weeks. If they take it to trial? 6 months. Maybe more. I looked out her office window. Downtown traffic. People going about their lives. Normal. Simple. Nothing like the nightmare we were living. They're not going to drop it, I said. Jennifer won't let them. She'd rather burn it all down than admit defeat. Then she'll get her wish, Patricia said, because that's exactly what's going to happen. They didn't drop the lawsuit. Instead, they escalated. On January 18th, I came home to find Eleanor sitting at the kitchen table, staring at her laptop screen. Her face was pale. They posted the deposition transcripts, she said. What? Michael and Jennifer. They posted excerpts from the depositions on social media, edited, cut up to make us look as bad as possible. She turned the laptop toward me. Jennifer's Facebook page. A long post, highlighted in yellow for emphasis. My father-in-law just admitted in court that he prioritizes money over family. Exact quote, I'm protecting my assets. Not his son, his assets. This is who they are. Below that, screenshots. Pieces of the deposition transcripts. My words, taken out of context, arranged to tell a story I hadn't told. The comments were vicious. I hope he's happy with his money when he's alone. Some people should never have kids. This is what's wrong with boomers. Me, me, me. Eleanor was shaking. Can they do this? Isn't this illegal? It's technically public record, I said. Once depositions are filed with the court, they're accessible. But this is absolutely unethical. Marsh should never have let them do this. I called Patricia. I saw it, she said. Her voice was ice. I'm filing a motion with the judge. This is harassment. This is an abuse of the legal process. And if Marsh had any integrity, she'd have stopped it. Can we stop them from posting more? I can ask the judge for a protective order. But Richard, this is going to get worse before it gets better. They're losing in court, so they're taking the fight public. They want to destroy you socially if they can't destroy you legally. Let them try, I said. But Eleanor was falling apart. Over the next week, the attacks intensified. Jennifer posted every day, screenshots, quotes, photos. She'd built a narrative. Loving son, cruel father, family torn apart by greed. People we'd known for decades started avoiding us. Church members stopped calling. Neighbors looked away when we drove past. The Hendersons stopped inviting us to things. Eleanor stopped leaving the house. I can't face them, she said. I can't look at people who think I'm a monster. They don't know the truth, I said. Then tell them. Post our side. Fight back. If we engage, it becomes a war, I said. And Jennifer is better at this than we are. She spent years cultivating her image. She knows how to play the victim. If we try to fight her in her arena, we'll lose. So we just let her destroy us? We let her destroy herself, I said. The lawsuit is still pending. The judge will see what she's doing, and when we win, everyone will know the truth. If we win, Eleanor said. We will, I said, but I was less certain than I sounded. On January 23rd, Patricia called with news. The judge granted our motion for sanctions. He's formally reprimanding Marsh for allowing her clients to weaponize the deposition transcripts, and he's issued a protective order, no more social media posts about the case until it's resolved. Can they enforce that? If Michael and Jennifer violate it, they'll be held in contempt. It's a powerful deterrent. Patricia paused. But there's something else. Marsh filed a motion to dismiss. She's trying to get out of the case. Why? Because she knows they're going to lose, and she doesn't want her name attached to a losing case, especially not one this ugly. Can she do that? The judge will decide, but if she's allowed to withdraw, Michael and Jennifer will have to find new representation, which means delays, more costs for them, more pressure. Patricia sounded satisfied. They're cracking. 2 days later, Marsh was allowed to withdraw. Michael and Jennifer were on their own. For a week, nothing happened. The social media posts stopped. Whether because of the protective order or because they were scrambling to find a new lawyer, I didn't know. Eleanor started leaving the house again, carefully, nervously, but she went to the grocery store. She went to the bank. She started rebuilding her routine. Maybe it's over, she said one night. Maybe they've given up. Maybe, I said, but I didn't believe it. On February 2nd, at 3 a.m., our home security alarm went off. I woke instantly. Eleanor was already sitting up, her hand on my arm. What is it? She whispered. I checked my phone. The security app showed a breach at the back door. Motion detected in the yard. Stay here, I said. I grabbed the aluminum baseball bat I'd kept in the closet since Michael was a kid. Went downstairs. The alarm was screaming. I turned on the back porch light. Michael was in our yard. He was holding a rock. The back door window was shattered. We stared at each other through the broken glass. "Let me in," Michael said. His voice was strange, flat, mechanical. "No," I said. "Let me in, Dad. We need to talk." "You broke into my house." "It's not breaking in. I'm your son. I'm family." He took a step closer. "Let me in, or I'll come in." "The police are already on their way," I said. The alarm company would have notified them automatically. "I don't care." Michael raised the rock. "Let me in." Behind me, I heard Eleanor on the phone. "Yes, my husband is downstairs. There's an intruder in our backyard. Our son. Please hurry." Michael heard her too, his face twisted. "I'm not an intruder. This is my childhood home. You can't keep me out." "You're 34 years old," I said. "You don't live here. You're trespassing." "I lived here for 18 years. 18 years. And now you're calling the cops on me?" He laughed. It was a terrible sound. "You really have lost your mind." "Go home, Michael." "I don't have a home. We're 3 weeks from foreclosure. We're losing everything. And you're standing there with your bat and your alarm and your security cameras, and you're telling me to go home?" He threw the rock. It hit the broken window, shattered more glass. "You did this to me." Sirens in the distance, getting closer. Michael looked toward the street. His face changed. Some of the wildness drained out of it, replaced by fear. "Dad," he said. His voice was suddenly small, childlike. "Please, I just need help. I just need you to talk to me, like we used to, before all this. Please." "It's too late," I said. The police cars pulled up out front, doors slamming, voices calling. Michael ran. He vaulted over the back fence and disappeared into the neighbor's yard. I heard him crashing through bushes, heard the officers yelling for him to stop. They caught him 3 houses down. I stood in my kitchen, broken glass on the floor, bat still in my hand, and watched through the window as they put my son in handcuffs. Eleanor came downstairs. She looked at the broken window, at the glass, at me. "Is this who we are now?" she asked. "Is this who we've become?" I didn't have an answer. The police took statements. They photographed the damage. They asked if we wanted to press charges. "Yes," I said. Eleanor looked at me. "Richard." "Yes," I repeated. "He broke into our house. He destroyed property. He threatened us. He needs to face consequences." The officer nodded. "He'll be charged with criminal trespassing and property damage. He's in custody now. There'll be a bail hearing in the morning." After they left, we cleaned up the glass, boarded up the window, sat in the kitchen drinking coffee neither of us wanted. "He called me," Eleanor said finally. 2 days ago. I didn't tell you because I thought he was just venting, but he said things, dark things, about how we'd destroyed his life, about how he had nothing left to lose." "You should have told me," I said. "I know." She was crying. I kept thinking maybe if I just talked to him enough, maybe if I could make him understand, maybe I could fix this. "You can't fix this," I said. "He's broken, and I don't know if he can be put back together." The bail hearing happened at 10 a.m. Michael was released on his own recognizance. Jennifer picked him up from the jail. Patricia called me that afternoon. "The criminal charges are going to hurt their civil case," she said. "Breaking into your home is going to make it very hard for them to claim you're the aggressor. In fact, I'm going to file a motion to dismiss the lawsuit entirely based on this new evidence. Will it work? Probably. The judge is already irritated with them. This might be the final straw." "And then what?" "And then it's over," Patricia said. "You win. They lose, and you can start putting your life back together." But it wasn't over, because Jennifer wasn't done. On February 5th, she posted again, not on her personal page, the protective order prevented that, but she'd created a new account, a support group for adult children dealing with abusive parents, and she'd made herself the face of it. My story: how my father-in-law used the legal system to destroy our family. It went viral. The next 2 weeks were quiet, suspiciously quiet. Jennifer's social media went dark. The protesters disappeared. The reporters moved on to other stories. Our lives returned to something resembling normal. I went to work. Eleanor went to the grocery store. We ate dinner together and watched TV and pretended the past 2 months hadn't happened. But it had happened, and I could feel it waiting. The next move, the final move. On March 1st, Patricia called. "Will that discharge the judgment?" "No. Judgments from fraud and willful misconduct aren't dischargeable in bankruptcy. They'll still owe you the $73,000, but the rest of their debts will be wiped out. They'll lose the house, the car, everything, but they'll get a fresh start. How long? The foreclosure will finalize in about 6 weeks. They'll have to be out by mid-April. And then? And then there's someone else's problem, Patricia said. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt empty. That night, Eleanor asked me if I was okay. I don't know, I said. I keep thinking about Michael, about who he used to be, about who he could have been if he'd made different choices. He's still making choices, Eleanor said quietly. Bad ones. I know, but he's still our son. Richard, Eleanor took my hand. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. We tried, for years, and it almost destroyed us. We did the right thing by protecting ourselves. Then why does it feel so wrong? She didn't have an answer. On March 7th, I was leaving work when I noticed a car following me, a silver SUV, Jennifer's. I took a different route home. The car followed. I pulled into a gas station. The car parked across the street. I called Eleanor. Jennifer's following me. Stay inside. Lock the doors. Call the police if anyone approaches the house. What are you going to do? Talk to her, I said. End this. I drove to the storage facility where my company kept maintenance equipment. It was after hours. The gate was locked, but I had a key. I pulled in. The SUV followed. I parked in the back, away from the security cameras. Jennifer parked next to me. We got out at the same time. We need to talk, Jennifer said. She looked terrible. Her hair was unwashed. Her clothes were wrinkled. She'd lost weight. There's nothing to talk about, I said. Yes, there is. She pulled out a folder, the same navy blue folder from Christmas. I have something you want. I doubt that. Eleanor's grandmother's ring, Jennifer said. Remember? Michael borrowed it to get it resized. We still have it. I went very still. That ring is worth maybe $2,000. It's worth more than that to Eleanor, Jennifer said. It's the only thing she has left from her grandmother, and I'm willing to give it back. For a price. How much? $73,000. The exact amount we owe you. Sign a waiver releasing us from the judgment, and you get the ring back. I stared at her. You're extorting me with my own wife's property. I'm offering you a trade, Jennifer corrected. You get something that matters to you. We get out from under a debt we can never pay. Everyone wins. Except you stole the ring in the first place. We borrowed it. There's a difference. Not in a court of law. Jennifer's smile was thin. Are you going to take me to court? Again? Spend more money on lawyers? Drag this out even longer? Or are you going to take the deal and end this? I considered my options. I could call the police right now, report the theft, press charges, but that would mean more legal battles, more publicity, more damage. Or I could let it go, let them have their victory. Let Eleanor have her ring back. Show me the ring, I said. Jennifer opened the folder. Inside was a small velvet box. She opened it. The ring was there, a simple gold band with a small diamond. Nothing expensive. But it had been Eleanor's grandmother's, and Eleanor had cried when Michael had asked to borrow it. The ring, I said, and you both sign a document agreeing to never contact us again. Ever. No social media, no phone calls, no surprise visits, nothing. Jennifer considered. Fine. And you remove all the posts, all the support group content, everything. Fine. And you admit in writing that you opened those credit cards without permission, that you committed fraud. Jennifer's jaw tightened. That's a crime. I'm not signing a confession. Then no deal, I said. We stared at each other, measuring, calculating. You're never going to forgive him, are you? Jennifer asked. Your own son. You're never going to forgive him for failing. I'm never going to forgive him for trying to destroy us to cover his failures, I said. There's a difference. Jennifer laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. You know what's funny? Michael idolized you. He spent his whole childhood trying to make you proud. And the one time he needed you, really needed you, you turned your back on him. I turned my back on fraud, I said, not on my son. You don't know the difference anymore, Jennifer said. She closed the ring box, put it back in the folder. I'll have the documents drawn up, she said. We'll sign, you'll sign, and then we're done. Forever. Good, I said. Jennifer got back in her car and drove away. I stood in the empty parking lot, listening to the sound of her engine fade. Then I called Patricia. Jennifer just tried to extort me, I said. I explained the ring, the deal, the demands. Don't sign anything, Patricia said immediately. We can charge her with theft, with extortion, we can... No, I said. I want this over. Draw up the documents she described. Add a clause that they waive all parental rights to contact or inheritance. Make it ironclad, and then we're done. Richard, you're letting her win. No, I said. I'm letting her go. There's a difference. Patricia was silent for a moment. All right, I'll have the documents ready by tomorrow. The signing happened on March 10th at Patricia's office, neutral territory. Michael and Jennifer arrived together. Jennifer was carrying the ring. Michael looked like he hadn't slept in days. We sat at opposite ends of the conference table. Patricia reviewed the documents. Jennifer's new lawyer reviewed them. Everything was in order. No contact, ever. Admission of credit card fraud, release of judgment, waiver of inheritance rights, mutual release from all claims, and the ring returned. This is it, Patricia said. Once you sign these documents, it's final. Legally binding. You can't change your minds. Michael looked at me. Dad. Don't, I said. Just sign. He signed, Jennifer signed, I signed, Eleanor signed remotely via video call. Patricia notarized everything. Jennifer pushed the velvet box across the table. I opened it. The ring was inside. It's done, Patricia said. Michael stood up. Jennifer stood up. They walked toward the door. Michael, I said. He stopped, turned. I wanted to say something. I wanted to tell him I loved him, that I was sorry, that I wished things had been different, that I hoped he'd find a way to rebuild his life. But I didn't. Goodbye, I said. He nodded. Once, then he left. The door closed behind them. I sat at the conference table, holding the velvet box, and felt nothing. Are you okay? Patricia asked. I don't know, I said. I drove home. Eleanor was waiting. I handed her the ring. She opened the box, stared at it. Then she started crying. I thought I'd never see this again, she whispered. I know, I said. She put it on. It still fit. How much did it cost us? Everything, I said. And nothing. Eleanor looked at me. Do you regret it? Any of it? I thought about Christmas, about the blue folder, about the moment I'd handed Jennifer that manila envelope and watched her face change. I thought about the lawsuit, the depositions, the broken window, the handcuffs. I thought about Michael's voice on the phone, begging for mercy. No, I said. I don't regret it. Neither do I, Eleanor said. We stood in the kitchen, holding each other, the ring glinting on her finger. It was over. Finally. Over. March passed. Then April. The foreclosure on Michael and Jennifer's house finalized. They moved to a small apartment across town. We heard about it through mutual acquaintances who thought we should know. We didn't respond. The social media posts came down. The support group disappeared. Jennifer's online presence went quiet. Work returned to normal. My boss stopped avoiding me. My colleagues stopped whispering. Eleanor started going to church again, started seeing friends, started rebuilding the life that had been torn apart. And slowly, very slowly, we started to heal. But some wounds don't heal completely. They just scar over. And sometimes, late at night, I'd wake up and think about Michael. About the boy who used to climb on my chair, about the young man who'd graduated with honors, about the son I'd lost, and I'd wonder if I'd made the right choice. Then I'd remember the blue folder, the debt, the lies, the fraud, and I'd remember that I hadn't lost a son. He'd lost himself, and I'd refused to go down with him. On April 20th, I came home to find an envelope in the mail. No return address. Postmarked from 3 states away. Inside was a note. Dad, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. But I wanted you to know that Jennifer and I are separating. She's moving back to her parents. I'm staying here, trying to figure out what comes next. I've spent the past 2 months in therapy, trying to understand how I got here, how I became this person I don't recognize, how I hurt you and Mom so badly. My therapist says I need to take responsibility, to own my choices, to stop blaming you for my failures. She's right. I made terrible decisions. I let Jennifer pressure me into things I knew were wrong. I lied to you. I stole from you. I tried to manipulate you. And when none of that worked, I tried to destroy you. I don't know if I'll ever be able to make amends. I don't know if you'll ever be able to forgive me, but I wanted you to know that I understand now. What I did. What I cost us. I'm sorry. Michael. I read the note 3 times. Then I put it in my filing cabinet. And 2nd drawer, blue folder, 4th from the back. I didn't respond. Maybe someday I would. Maybe someday Michael would finish rebuilding himself, and we'd find a way back to each other. But not today. Not yet. Maybe not ever. And I was okay with that. because some bridges, once burned, stay burned, and sometimes that's for the best.